This is Mommyhood Unscripted, a show about moms for moms.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to join forces with the extremely informative, talented Carrie Lupoli for this special 6-episode series called Mommyhood Unscripted, The Work Within. Carrie is a certified nutritionist, a TedX speaker, award-winning behavior specialist and educator in schools around the world who's dedicated to empowering women through sustainable health solutions. She's the co-founder of Disruptive Nutrition and the host of her own podcast called Diet Disruptors. So you are now joining us at episode number 5, which is all about the time lie. You don't need more time, you need a new system. And Carrie, you are setting us straight with all of this. I love this 6-part series that we've been doing together.
Well, health is more complicated than just like avoiding carbs.
Yeah.
Which we shouldn't do anyway. But right, like we think about it as this one dimension when it comes to health, and women will often tell me, I want to be healthy, but really we want to be skinny. And is that the healthiest mindset to have?
Right.
And then when we just think about health in general, it's really time to start defining it much bigger than that. Like, how well are we managing our time, or is our time managing us? When we feel chaotic and stressed because of time, we're not healthy. I think about our finances and our financial health, our mental health. It all encompasses the same thing. And so this 6-part series to me is really important because it gives us a perspective on all the different facets that we really have to be considering.
Right, and they're all linked. They're all, if one's out of whack, it's gonna kind of have that like domino effect, right?
And this is why diets will never work, because they will not tap into all the components of our life. Not only that they deprive us and make us miserable, but they don't give us actually the tools to truly be healthy.
So what about this whole time thing? You know, I think that we put so much pressure and an emphasis on the timeline. You know, we want this by this date, but we're not taking all the other stuff into consideration, right?
Yeah, time is so interesting. I have so much respect for time because as a mom now of a 19 and 20-year-old, I'm like, whoa, where did the time go? I know you're in the midst of it right now with the littles, but I mean, you're gonna be sitting in my seat like tomorrow is what it feels like. And time is the thing that is the great equalizer. I don't care how much money you have, what kind of like, stance in society that you have, where you live in the world, we all have exactly the same amount of time in the day. And how we use it is, to me, really important because we can waste it, we can spend it, we can never get it back. I always say we can make more money. We can always make more money. We cannot make more time. And to me, time is the thing that we need to respect, we need to prioritize, we need to understand, and we need to develop our time management skills because time keeps managing us instead of us managing time. And we need to do a flip on that.
Yeah, we can't fight the time. You're just gonna lose. So you gotta work with it.
Yeah, and it's the thing that I think really frustrates us without us really knowing it. I think time feels like it's flying by and that we don't have control. And when we don't have control, that's when we feel like we're at a loss. But when we can start taking back control and we can actually address our time management issues, it's amazing how many other things fall into place. Like, women, when they work with me, especially around nutrition, they're shocked that I talk about time and that we do a lot of time management stuff. Because I mean, face it, if you're super busy, you're not making the time to be able to take care of yourself. You're doing everything with your family and your job. So this is a pivotal component in getting healthy.
It's so funny, and we've talked about, staying more present and just even giving yourself that 5 minutes to set yourself up for the day.
Yep.
And I've been trying to implement that since we started this series.
Good.
And I'm noticing, and I used to be the like rush, go, go, go kind of mom, and even before that, and I'm noticing that 5 minutes for myself is really grounding me for the rest of the day.
Well, we are going to double down on all that today.
Okay. How are we going to do that?
Okay. So let's start thinking about what I call the time funnel. Okay. So think about like this funnel. And if you think about what time is, like years are a compilation of months, which is a compilation of weeks, days, and hours, which I know sounds so obvious, but we often, I saw a meme once on Instagram that said adulthood is just like, next week I'll have more time. Next week I'll have more time until we die. It's just saying it over and over again.
Yeah.
And we don't realize really, truly this level of self-awareness about how we spend our days translates into how we spend our months and then our years. And so if we could just start with that level of awareness, that's going to be huge because then we become more intentional. And when we become more intentional, we automatically do things differently.
Yeah,
So that's the first step, like recognizing this time funnel. And if we're not doing something today and we're not intentional about when we're going to do that thing that we say we're going to do, because it's always like next Monday, next week, next after the kids go back to school. But if we don't actually change our thinking around how time works, school will come and go, summer will go, and then we're going to be stuck in the same kind of a thing. There's never a perfect time to do anything, ever.
That's why I love those, Instagram stories that you see, and it's like, eat the cake, like, take the vacation, book the flight. It's like, when are you going to get an opportunity to do it? You have to create that time for yourself.
It's about creating the opportunity and the time. And I think you're right, like eat the cake. And also, like, how am I intentional about my behaviors?
Right.
And so there's this kind of push-pull. And I think the one thing that really drives me crazy about Instagram, well, there's a lot of things, but there is this meme that says, do what makes you happy. And I think that's actually one of the worst pieces of advice we can have, because if we're constantly going with just what makes us happy, I would binge watch my favorite Netflix show all the time. So there's just like, I want to do what makes me happy, but also I got to do these other things. We do. And we do have to be intentional. We have to work. We have to get our business done. We used to say to our kids, get your business done, then you can do some of the things.
Get your business done.
Get your business done.
Yeah.
And so, and that might not make us happy, but it does make us more fulfilled. Joy doesn't necessarily always mean happiness. It means that I've been able to persevere through hard things. I've been able to be disciplined and show up for myself. So I really think that we become more confident, we become more empowered when we do the hard things, when we are disciplined, and when we are consistent. Consistency is huge. Okay, so we have our time funnel. We understand what that is, right? So I want you to think about this, 168. We have 168 hours in a week, each of us. We're always given a brand new set of 168 hours every week. And it's not like one person has $10,000 and one person has $10. We all are given the same amount of time. We can waste it and we get more of it, but we can never get back the time that we had. So I just find it to be this precious gem of a gift. But 168 hours is, like I said, the great equalizer. So why is it that some people can take that 168 hours and seemingly do all sorts of things with it and seemingly so productive and organized, and then other people take that 168 hours and it just feels like it flies by and we don't know what happened to it. But 168 is what we all have. So we're not going to get more time. We have to work within the time that we have. So we're going to do a little math. Okay. I was trying to remember these numbers so I didn't have to have my phone on me for the calculator. But let's just do, so Michael Hyatt, who's this amazing productivity coach and a business consultant, he's written some really great books on productivity, on time management. And he talks about this 168 hours. And he says to develop what's called an ideal week. When I say ideal, I don't mean like vacation ideal. I mean, ideally, when you're working, maybe the kids are in school, ideally, when are you going to do all the things that you say you want to do? So the way that we do that is we take these 168 hours and we just do a brain dump. And we say, okay, the big rocks are the things that we have to plan for first. Have you ever seen that, like, it's sort of a metaphor, but it's a visual, where you have a big jar and we think about all the things that we have to do. And we throw all the things, all the little things that we have to do is like sand. So we can put a bunch of sand in a jar. And then we've got our big rocks. We've got our health. We've got our finances. We've got our faith, our parenting, our marriage. And we consider those the big important things. And then if we had this jar filled with sand, which was all the little things that take up all of our time, and then we try to put the rocks on top of it, there's not going to be any room. But if we put the rocks in first and then pour the sand over it, it all fits. It's an amazing experiment in visual to see.
It finds a way to fit, right? You wouldn't think that it would necessarily fit, but it still does.
It does, because we're prioritizing the big rocks first. We're putting them in the jar and then putting the sand over it. But so often we do the other thing. We've got to do all these little things. And in a previous episode, we talked about urgent and important, and the important things are the big rocks. So let's take these 168 hours. Let's talk about sleep. Sleep is one of the most important things. And I know, we laugh, especially as parents. But let's just do some math, okay? Let's just play this out. Let's say you get 7 hours of sleep a night. That's 49 hours a week. So we take 168 hours, we subtract 49, okay? We've got, I think it's 119 hours left, okay? And then let's say we work 40 hours a week. So we take 119 and subtract 40. We're now at like 79 hours left. Okay, we have 79 hours. let's work out. Let's say we work out an hour a day. You don't even have to work out an hour a day, but let's just say you're going to work out an hour a day, 5 days a week.
Okay.
That's 5 hours a week. We're down to 74 hours. We've worked out, we've slept, and we've worked. And we still have 78 hours left in a week.
Wow. That's wild.
We
when you
never
put it
look
that
at this way.
Yeah.
So when I have my clients actually do this whole activity, we take just a piece of paper, and we brain dump. What are all the things that I have to do during the week? And then put a weekly number to it. And then just add it up. And 9 times out of 10, we have more time. So we actually have extra in that 168.
Yeah, with the 70 plus hours that we just set, what do your clients, try and do with that time?
Okay, well, you got to grocery shop.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
You got to make dinner. You got to think of laundry. You got to think about all the things that you do.
Right.
Right? But I think we're not really intentional about it. We don't actually think about how much time it takes to do some of the things that we have to do. And so when you actually put some numbers behind it, it's almost like a budget, but for our time. It's eye-opening. I have had clients with like 3 kids, work full time, and they have like 10 extra hours in a week. Now, I'll also say we're not robots. We're not machines.
Right.
We can't be busy and productive every minute of every day, but it's shocking how much margin we actually have if we start a process like that first.
So once you do that formula and you find out how much free time you have, say for that week, right?
Yep.
Or on an average week, is there a special technique on how to implement those extra hours?
So this is where Michael Hyatt's system comes in, right? The ideal week. So get yourself like a little planner pad, a little planner, or just do this on paper. And we just write out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then you've got your times. This is why I say a planner that's got all the times kind of on it is great. And I actually have a worksheet too that people can go to my Instagram and I can send it to them from there. But you can do this on any kind of paper, right? And so you've got all the times, like maybe start at 5 a.m. and go all the way to 10 p.m. at night, whatever it is. And then you start actually blocking in those things. So that's 7 hours of sleep. Where's that going to go, right? Grocery shopping. Okay, you said 2 hours a week in grocery shopping. This is one of the big reasons I do Instacart, because I realized when I did my ideal week that I could actually take a 2-hour time block and bring it down to maybe 30 minutes. And I'm like, I'll take that all day long, because to me, time is so much more important.
Right.
It's why I decided to prioritize a cleaning team, because the hours that I couldn't get back every week didn't make sense to me when I put it down on paper. And we prioritize what's most important, and to me, time is most important. So I'd rather spend the money on that so I get my time back.
Which you'd be surprised how much money people just spend for, leisure. And what it would add up possibly
dollars
for,
a day.
Right?
We did the math.
crazy.
It's dollars a day. And I'm literally like, if I actually just poured my own coffee instead of going to Starbucks, I could easily pay for a cleaning team.
Yeah.
No doubt. So it's about, redistributing spending, but we're going to plot it all out in an ideal week. So this is when I would work out. So in my ideal week, I work out at 7 a.m. every single day. And it's already plotted. I don't have to think about it. It's like, I got to work out. When am I going to do it? Nope. All those decisions are made because you have this. It's a blueprint.
Right.
It's like building a house. You have to have a blueprint down first. Now, when you have that ideal week, you'll start to see how it all plays out. And you might say, okay, laundry. We've talked about laundry before.
Oh, yeah.
And you might say, okay, I need like 3 hours a week to do laundry. Well, is it 3 straight hours, or can you block it into 30-minute chunks a few times a week? And that's where you start to actually, it's like a Tetris game a little.
Yeah.
And I say, you do it with a pencil. And you're going to erase, and you're going to move, and then you'll actually see how much time you do have, and you become much more intentional. And so you have an actual plan for the week.
Right.
Now, the problem is life doesn't always show up as planned.
I was just going to say, what happens when it throws you the curveballs? And, like, for example, I can literally operate at the seat of my pants. My husband, who's a Virgo, very through and through. I'm Aquarius.
Okay,
so I'm
there
like,
you go.
Peace, love. And he's very routine. So if he cannot get his workout in, for example, or something comes up with the kids, or, I have something to do, or I have to stay late, like, he's like, when am I going to get the time in?
Yes.
So I'm just giving that as an example of being thrown off,
Personalities are really important. This goes with self-awareness, understanding our personalities, what triggers us, what doesn't. And I think a husband and wife team should have a really great date night conversation around this kind of stuff.
Like, and compare our calendars,
exactly.
maybe for our ideal week?
We do it on Fridays for happy hour is what we do.
I love that. Okay.
And my daughter is very much type B, my oldest daughter. My younger daughter is very much type A. And my type B daughter was like, Mom, the ideal week is not a thing for me. It's just, my brain doesn't work that way. And I'm like, it works for everybody, Grace, I promise. And it really does. And she'll say, like, even though it doesn't feel natural to her, she said to me, I feel like I am in so much more control.
I wish I had this 20 years ago.
Right.
It's okay. Right. It's better late than never.
No, absolutely. Are you kidding? Yes, absolutely. So now it's like curveballs of life. What happens? And you mentioned the 5 minutes of kind of intentionality in the morning. This is where we get super intentional. So on Sundays, my morning time, and I have morning time every day. In fact, I go live on Instagram every single morning because morning time is the most important time. And I commit to all of my followers to be able to go live on morning time to just reinforce how important it is. And I will say that the single most important thing that any one of us could do is show up for ourselves every morning for 15 minutes. Put that in your 168 hours a week. It will change everything because it up levels your intentionality, your self-awareness, and your ability to implement as well as manage your time. So Sundays, my morning time is I look at my week ahead. And I have my ideal week. I know what ideally it should be, but then I'm going to come do a podcast with you, or then I'm going to go on a trip, or kids have a field trip. Things are going to show up. Yeah. So now I'm going to plot out really kind of what my week will look like for the most part. I'm going to adjust that ideal week because it rarely goes as planned. Right, like building a house. It never quite goes as planned, but I've got a blueprint and I know what my ideal is. And if I actually have the ideal in front of me, it's funny how we don't deviate as far away than if we just didn't have anything. Right. So I'm just going to spend my Sunday just for a few minutes, just literally plotting out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where I'm going to do the things that and compare it to my ideal week. And then that's where every morning comes in. And I used to joke that I had, in my old house, I had a pool with a loungers. And every single morning, a bird would poop on the cushion of my lounger. I've told you this, right? Yes. Right. But if I cleaned it up every morning, then it wasn't that big of a deal. And I want you to think like the chaos of life, the curveballs of life are like the bird pooping on my cushion every day. And if you can clean it up each day, then it actually doesn't add up to be that much. And you just focus on the day. You already kind of have an idea of what the week's gonna be like, but if you are so stuck on that week going perfectly planned, you're gonna be disappointed. But if you can be like, okay, today's Monday or Tuesday, whatever it is, and I say, okay, this is what I have planned, and my to-do list, my big to-do list, my big rocks, the things I know I have, I'm gonna time block into my day just that day. And I may see that I just don't have enough time to do all the things. I time block my to-do list. So if I know that I have, something a blog article to write, for example, I time block that in instead of just having it on a big to-do list. And I may see I just cannot do all the things. And that's fine. I have to be realistic about it, and I can see success because I'm realistic. Right. So every morning I am literally taking my planner and time blocking in my to-do list, my appointments, and I'm comparing it to what I said I was going to do on Sunday, my ideal week and all of that. But if you can just really, you can do that in 5 minutes. I like to say, give yourself 15. Ideal week that out as 15 minutes. And then the next day you wake up again and you look at the day before and you're like, okay, what was all the bird poop that just came on? What were the curveballs of life? And for your husband who needs to get his time back, he might want to have a revamp of his day at lunchtime. Like, okay, I couldn't get all this done. How can I rejiggle things in my day? Or like me, I just let the day go. It's gonna play out the way it is. But on the next day, I'm going to look at what I did, what I didn't do, and I'm going to plan my next day very intentionally. I'm going to look at my ideal week, and I'm going to look at my to-do list, and I'm going to time block it all in. And then I have that plan in front of me. Right. I mean, literally, we might have our phone on us. Yeah. I always have my planner.
I love that.
Always.
I love that. I know there's something about, I get something out about writing things down.
It's not just you. It actually is part of our brain. Now, do I have a calendar and to-do list on my phone? Absolutely. Yep. But I transfer it on every single day. Me too. And I build margin. And when you build in margin, like the margin on the side of papers, when life throws you a curveball, when something takes longer, when you have a temper tantrum, you're like, okay, I've built in margin, and it's amazing how much less stress and how much more productivity we can actually get out of a day.
How long did this take you to implement this as part of your...
It took me, I've been making my own planners since I was in college. I was obsessed with time forever. Because I don't know, there was just always this level of like, I had a baby brother when I was 13, and I just remembered how quickly he grew up, and I think that stuck with me by the time I got into college. And so I've actually been studying time for well over 20 years, but I really developed this system and this process over the last 5 with my clients, and it has been a complete game changer for them. But we just have to really understand and protect and respect time first, and then know that if we can have a system, it will change everything. My type B daughter is, I don't like these systems. So we do have to push past the feelings sometimes if it doesn't feel natural.
Can we talk about decision fatigue?
Yes.
Because sometimes it's just, it's so funny. Literally, I'll give you an example. Last week, my husband's like, so what do you want to do? I think it was with, you know, what we were going to do with the kids, or like an activity, or what we were going to eat. And not like, what are you going to make us? Because he probably does more cooking than I do. And I said, I think it was where we were going to go out to eat. We were going to have a family night out. We had just gotten back from vacation, and we didn't go shopping. I said, I don't care. I'm just going to set ourselves up for success. I'm not going to stress over trying to, oh my God, we got to run to the store and figure this out. And he's like, well, where do you want to go? And I'm like, I don't care. I was completely tapped out. I was fatigued. I didn't want to make the decisions. And I'm like, it's up to you. You choose. Or have you ever been in those situations with people where you give ideas and they're like, no. And then it's like, you know what? You choose. But people sometimes seek you out to make the decision.
Well, my husband like, where do you want to eat? And then I'm like, I don't know. You decide. And then he'll give me a bunch of ideas. And I'm like, I don't like any of those ideas.
So like, I'm your husband.
None
in that
of it
situation.
is making me happy right now. Yes. So a lot of this so decision fatigue is a real thing, especially when we have been, I call it the cognitive load, the cognitive lift. When our brain has to cognitively be thinking of all these different things. And as women, we literally, it's like we have 40 tabs open in our computer, in our brain.
All
constantly. The time.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
It's one of the reasons why like we want to write things down to try to get it out of our brain. But if we can make decisions in advance, first, during like our morning time, during our Sunday little, I call it like a little like staff meeting with myself on Sunday mornings. We do it at work. There's no way you're, doing what you're doing all day long without your team huddle. So why we think we shouldn't be doing that and have a standard operating procedure.
You're the CEO of your life,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. So we can get in front of some of the decision fatigue that we have, especially if we have systems, and we've talked about systems before, where we don't have to think. Like I literally don't think about dinner anymore because it's just on autopilot now. And like we know what we're getting from the grocery store, and we just, what we've decided is like our, kind of fun, like creative dinners are going to be when we go out to eat, because it's just like, it was just too much, So we want to be making decisions as much as we can in advance. But also I just think that there's a level of self-awareness. I have decision fatigue right now. I can't take the cognitive lift. And so if you guys have like a bunch of takeout restaurants that you love, you could do this as kind of a fun thing with your kids. You have a bunch of menus and you have them all like in a drawer, in a bag, and you're like, close your eyes, pick one out. And the decision gets made for you.
Oh,
but you could put a few little systems. Index cards are like my favorite thing. I think every mom should have index cards, because then you could do a whole bunch of things. Like we can say, okay, what are our favorite things for dinner that I know I always have? I put them on a bunch of index cards. I put them all down on the counter and let the kids pick one. Okay, we're having chicken nuggets tonight.
That's a great idea.
And so now you've just done a little bit of prep, but like the decision gets made and then you just stick to it. So index cards are always my thing. Make flashcards of some sort, or make cards of some sort. Let the kids make the decision for you.
Oh, I love that so much. And even for, for adults, that would work. Like pick a fun date night, drop in the cards.
Our Friday happy hour is like things like that. And so we have pickleball on our cards. We have going for a bike ride on our cards, going for a walk on our cards. We have going out for dinner, and then like we'll like lay it all out and then we'll just pick one.
That's awesome. I love that. All right, the non-negotiables. How do we protect those and also let go of the guilt that's associated?
I think the non-negotiables, especially when it comes to our health, we have to recognize the importance of it, because there's some sort of thing, this badge of honor that women seem to get, or we feel like if we we don't take care of ourselves, right? Like we don't sleep, we don't prioritize our own workouts or our own health measures. And then we literally, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And I know we say it all the time, but we don't actually mean it when it comes to doing something about it. And if we really outlined those 168 hours and we decided what those big rocks were and we made time for those, you have now actually put it into your brain. And our brain filters out what we tell it to. Our thoughts are so incredibly powerful. And our brain doesn't know more than what we tell it. And so if we tell it, these are my big rocks, it's amazing how your brain will start to filter out some of those things and kind of subconsciously remind you of what some of those really important things are. We can't always control our feelings, but we absolutely can control our thoughts. Another reason why morning time is so important. It's a chance to reset and realign our intentions with our execution.
You know what I tried doing this week? I called it a slow, soulful Sunday. So we had our coffee out in the patio. The kids, when they woke up, they joined us. We ate breakfast outside. They ran around. My husband and I just had a chance to just hang and talk. And I said to myself, we're not booking our schedule up today. We don't have anywhere to be. This is what family days are all about. And what advice would you have to any parents out there? Because, you know, right now, at the time we're recording this, a lot of people are getting ready to go back to school. Sporting events, activities. I'm already hearing when I was at the beach the other day, just parents talking about every single camp their kid was signed up for. And then every activity they're getting ready because the signups are, you know, this week for X, Y, and Z. That's a whole other thing to factor in with scheduling too. What is your advice there?
Well, this is why we go back to the ideal week. And I tell my clients, we're going to do a new ideal week every time a season in your life changes.
Oh, okay.
So if you're going to start school, we're going to do a new ideal week. And that may only last 2 weeks. You might actually see it's not actually working. And then we redo it. But this ideal week, it's back to the basics. There doesn't have to be a whole bunch of strategies that we're doing. It's literally quick, easy, simple, but consistent. So every time we see that we've got like a whole lot of stuff going on, let's map it out in our ideal week. And you may see that we just can't do it all.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. But we don't give ourselves that permission unless we actually see it down on paper. When I built my house, I was like, I want a 3rd bedroom on the 2nd floor. And the architect was like, okay. And then when we got down to it, we could not put a 3rd bedroom on the 2nd floor. It just did not work. So we had to make an adjustment. So you may not actually have enough time to be able to do all the things. And then you've got to make decisions because you will not get more than 168 hours. No matter what you do, no matter who you negotiate with, you will not get more. And if you keep pulling it from the things that are going to keep you healthy, you will regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but you'll be the one calling me saying, Carrie, I don't know how to function anymore. I can't show up for my family. I have metabolic disease. I have horrible menopause. Like, you're going to get all of that if you don't actually get the big rocks in the jar first. And the kids can do one less swimming lesson.
Right.
They really can.
It's going to be okay. They're going to have a lot more time in their lives to implement what they want.
And then if you get time, it's such a gift, right? So if you pull something out, then what can you put in there that's really going to help fill your cup?
All right, that's what it's all about, the time lie, and you can find the time that you need. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Carrie, of course, for your words of wisdom. If you like what you heard, there is another place you can go for these conversations. So if you're just joining us with episode number 5 of Mommyhood Unscripted, The Work Within, we have another episode coming at you too. But scan that QR code there on your screen. Mommyhood Unscripted is available in podcast form, so you can take these conversations with you wherever you go and share it with your friends too. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. So make sure to subscribe today. Again, pass this along to all those mamas out there, because this is all advice and wisdom that we really need to have in our toolboxes. We'll see you for another episode.